So if you want a portable Bluetooth speaker, but you want to spend as little as you possibly can, then I've got two here to have a look at. I've got the Soundcore Select 4 Go, and I've got the Tozo PE1. So they're both costing around $30, and so I'm going to compare them side by side, look at the pros and cons of both, so you can decide which one of these are right for you. Let's check them out. Full disclosure, Tozo did send me this to review, but I bought the Soundcore one myself. None of that influences my decision, and you will get my honest opinion. First, looking at the specs of these, because they both look fairly similar to other speakers that are around. Now, I have already reviewed the Soundcore Select 4 Go against the JBL Go 4, and unsurprisingly, well, it's not too hard to see where they got the design inspiration from. It does look very similar to that. Whereas if you look at the Tozo, well, that looks quite similar to the JBL Clip series. Now, this is their JBL Clip 5. This looks quite similar to their older JBL Clip 3 series, which had that more of a loop over the top of the carabiner. So definitely getting some inspiration from other manufacturers and other companies. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So build quality wise, the Soundcore Select 4 Go is really well built. You've got this fabric speaker grill going all the way around the outside of the speaker. You've got this loop on the top which you can attach a carabiner to for hooking it onto your bag or anything else. You've got these 4 rubberized feet at the bottom, so if you put the speaker on a table, it's not going to move around when it's playing music. And if you want to actually have it up on its side instead, you've got a little rubberized strip down one side as well. So you've got a few different options for whether you have it lying down or facing up on a table. The USB-C port is hidden underneath this flap at the end here, which keeps it nice and dry if you happen to get this wet, so you can charge it really quickly. Now moving on to the Tozo, well, this has just got a fabric grille across the top, and then the rest of it is predominantly a plastic build, which does feel a little cheaper than the Soundcore does. The USB-C charging port at the bottom is exposed, which does make it easier to get to, but also means if the speaker gets wet, you're going to have to wait for that to dry out before you can charge it. Buttons down the side are fairly similar, so all the buttons on both of these will do pretty much the same thing. So there's power on and off, there's Bluetooth pairing, play, pause, volume up and down, skip track forwards and backwards, so they give you all the basic essentials. There's a rubberized circle at the bottom for helping to make sure it doesn't move around when it's actually playing music, and you've got this integrated carabiner at the top, which clips out of the base and then clips back in again. Now the place where the carabiner goes into the body is just a cutout in the plastic body. So over time, I would be probably a little bit concerned about the longevity of whether that's going to snap the case or not. I mean, it is a really thick plastic and it's probably going to be okay. I would just be a little bit cautious of it. So size wise, they're pretty much the same depth and also the same width, but as you can see, there is quite a bit of a different length on the Soundcore. So the Soundcore one is 121 millimeters long, whereas the Tozo one is 90 millimeters long. So that does translate a little bit into the weight as well. So the Tozo PE1 is almost 100 grams lighter than the Soundcore Select 4 Go. So 265 grams against 178. So if weight is a concern, the Tozo definitely takes the lead in that one. Both of these are weatherproof to some degree. So the Soundcore Select 4 Go is IP67 rated, which makes it not only waterproof but dustproof as well. So if this happens to get splashed by the pool or gets left out in the rain, you don't have to worry about it. The Tozo PE1, well, that's IPX8 waterproof or weatherproof rated. So it's not dustproof rated, but it is waterproof rated such that you can submerge this in a meter of water for up to 30 minutes, which is pretty impressive in a speaker. Having said that, I have tested a pair of Tozo earbuds before that were also IPX8 waterproof rated, and I tested it and it wasn't waterproof and one of the earbuds broke. So I think they're fine if you get caught out in the rain and if they take the odd splash, but I wouldn't test submerging it. That's just me being overly cautious. They are both the same from a connectivity perspective, so they both have Bluetooth 5.4, they both support multi-point, and they both have stereo pairing as well. So you can be connected up to another one of the same speakers to get left and right surround sound. Well, stereo sound, not surround sound. There is a difference, or at least a marketed difference between them from a battery life perspective, with the Soundcore coming up in a 20-hour battery life and the Tozo marketing at a 32-hour battery life. Now that is incredibly dependent on the volume that you play your music at. So if you're going to play these loud, then both of these are going to see quite a significant drop in battery life. And the speakers inside these are pretty similar. You've got a 45mm driver inside the Select 4 Go and a 43.5mm driver inside the PE1. They both have a passive radiator in them, although both companies don't really say what size they are. There is a significant difference in the power output though, with Soundcore saying that the Select 4 Go will give you 5 watts of power, whereas Tozo say the PE1 will give you 10 watts of power. Which means on paper that this is twice as much power as the Soundcore. We'll get to the sound test of this in a minute and I'll go and talk through that because it's not twice. They both have mobile app support, which in a speaker that is this cheap is pretty impressive. And the differences are fairly minor in that mobile app. So both of these have a number of preset EQs which you can set these to, and they also come with a custom band EQ. There is a 9-band custom band EQ with the Soundcore Select 4 Go and a 10-band one with the Tozo PE1. And you are going to need that in order to get the best sound out of these. You can update the firmware on both of these speakers as well using that mobile app, and the Select 4 Go also has an auto power off feature in the mobile app, which the Tozo doesn't. So getting onto the sound and what these actually sound like, and I'm going to do a sound test so you can hear for yourself first, then I'll let you know what I think afterwards.
It's what you're doing, making me feel like I'm falling. And when you're moving, I can hear my calling. There's no one else here that I see but you. It's what you're doing, it's making me feel like I'm falling. Yeah, I'm falling in love.
Fuck with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than just fly on it. Stand on that hill, you gon' die on it. Boom, boom. Baby, I'm not one of them, you should try on it. Miss me with all that I'm on it and decks. Fuck this up, I send you back to your ex. But good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember.
So on paper, as I said, the Tozo PE1 says it's 10 watts versus the Soundcore Select 4 Go's 5 watts. So in theory, twice as loud as the Soundcore. In reality, it's not that much louder. It is a little bit louder when you push it up to full, but it's not twice as loud. So I would take that with a certain pinch of salt. When you push both of these loud, neither of them sound particularly good. I mean, they are small speakers after all. So the bass massively drops off and the treble gets quite shrill. It's actually far more noticeable on the Tozo than it is on the Soundcore. That's partly because the bass with the Tozo PE1 is actually pretty good for such a small little speaker. There's definitely more of a bass response with this one than there is with the Soundcore, although I do find the treble far more forward in the Tozo. The Soundcore has a bit more of a flatter, neutral sound compared to the Tozos, so it really does depend what you prefer from a music listening perspective. But considering the fact that you've got custom EQs, you've got that 9 and 10 band EQ, you can tailor either of these to match your listening music preference. These are best sounding when you are just clipping them on your backpack and it's listened to at sort of low to medium volume, so it's just like personal listening for like maybe yourself or yourself and a mate. That's where both of these speakers really do well. So if I was going to sum up the sound of these two, the Tozo has a better bass response than the Soundcore, although the treble does get quite shrill at really high volumes. The Soundcore Select 4 Go I thought had a more flatter, natural sound across the frequency range, but it doesn't go as loud as the Tozo and it's not as bassy. Now there is one thing that the Tozo has that the Soundcore doesn't, and that is a mic. So if you want a speaker that you're going to be able to use for taking a call, then the Tozo PE1 is the only one that does it. There is no mic in the Soundcore Select 4 Go. And so here's a mic test so that you can hear what you would sound like if you were going to take a call using this speaker. So you're now listening to a mic test of the Tozo PE1 speaker. This is what's going to sound like if you happen to take a call and the speaker's right close to your face. You can now see it's down on the table over there. This is what it's going to sound like if I'm talking away from the speaker, about 2 meters away, and whether that speaker could be there. Whether that speaker can pick up my voice, you can clearly hear me from about 2 meters away. I wouldn't use it as a speakerphone, but for the odd call now and again, it's more than okay. So I don't think you'd be disappointed with whichever one of these that you get. I mean, both of them cost around $30 retail. I have seen both of these down to around $20 on Amazon, so that's a pretty low price for what is otherwise a pretty good sounding speaker considering its size. But if you want a speaker that has a mic and size and weight is important to you, then the Tozo PE1 is probably the better choice. However, if you want something that's a better build quality and is also dust proof as well, then the Soundcore Select 4 Go is the better choice. As I said, I don't think you'd be disappointed with either. So I will leave purchase links to both of them in the description down below so that you can go check them out for yourself. And having listened to them, which of these do you think sounded the best? Let me know in the comments down below as well. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.